Brittany Wright is at her home in Decula, Georgia. Ashley Richardson joins us from her home in Santa Ana, California. Ladies, thank you for joining me. And obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with both of you during this time. This is all still real. It's all raw. Brittany, I know that, as you pointed out, you are vaccinated. Your husband was not only against it, it caused strain in your marriage, in your new marriage, because you were arguing over this.
Yes, ma'am. It caused a lot of strain inside of our marriage. I remember that day, whenever I went and got it, he actually hung up on me whenever I actually went and got the shot. So we just argued that whole day.
So you told him you were going to get the shot, and he didn't even want to speak to you, his new wife.
Yes, ma'am. He hung up on me. He was just so upset. And he finally talked to me the next day, and he told me he was upset with me. But I just figured he was just upset.
Ashley, so much of the show, as I said before, is not about telling people they should be or should get the vaccine, as I am and our entire audience. But you said that really with your husband, there was a sense of invincibility, right? That as I think your quote was, we thought we were invincible, and that you really weren't in a hurry to get the vaccine.
Yeah, we just didn't see the sense of urgency. Nothing in our lives had really changed. Still wearing masks, still not isolating, but quarantining. You know, we didn't really work as much as we had in the past. Didn't go out, didn't go to concerts, didn't go see friends, didn't go out to dinner. So it wasn't a matter of being against it at all. It was just a matter of just not taking the opportunity to get the vaccine when we
It wasn't a priority, it sounds like. You thought you were taking the precautions and it was a priority. I'm curious though, with both of you, obviously people now know that your spouses died and could have gotten the vaccine. I've read so many comments from people who say, and I don't think it's right, but they say things like, well, you know what, you caused this yourself. Well, you should have got, like the empathy is not there. Ashley, how does that make you feel when you hear people say, well, you know, he could have prevented it. It's his fault.
That was one of the things that hurt the most, that people automatically jump to an unempathetic response as opposed to, you know, realizing that people are human and they're allowed to have regrets, make mistakes. Yeah, it's it's difficult that people go to that knee-jerk reaction.
Brittany, let me start with you, because your husband, you describe him as being so stubborn. And I can understand that. Even when I lost my father, my dad died of pneumonia. It wasn't until my mother said she was going to sleep in the other room that he went to the hospital and had a cough for some time. So we get that stubbornness that sometimes men can have. But you said Bradrick had a change of heart in his final moments. What did he communicate?
When I went in there, he didn't look the same when I went in there. They had him on the bed. He was laying there naked, and the gowns were covering him. And he looked at me. He was like, "Babe, I think I want to get the COVID vaccine," because he felt like he would have rather been at home with me than be sick in the hospital. And I couldn't go see him. Couldn't nobody see him. So he was like, "Babe, I should have went and got it when you first got your shot." So I had hoped that when he got out of the hospital, I can go get my second shot and he can go get his first shot. Because, I mean, we were a married couple. We always did everything together. So I was very excited.
And when he passed away, knowing that he had that kind of regret, what did that do to you emotionally?
Emotionally, it broke my heart because I never imagined losing my husband. It broke my heart because, you know, I always had hope that he was going to get out the hospital. So he just passed away. It's just so sudden without even getting the first shot. I remember just going to the hospital and viewing his body and screaming over his body. So I told him he wasn't supposed to leave me. And then it just breaks my heart, you know?
Yeah. Ashley, you were quarantined at home. what was your final conversation like with your husband about not having or not getting the vaccine?
So Rolf and I had a period of time where we were quarantining together. So we were in bed together, watching television and trying to get better. And there was often conversations about him saying that he regretted not getting the vaccine. He should have gotten it. He hated how sick he was. He didn't want to go to the hospital. He was scared to go to the hospital. And when I finally took him to the hospital, I only had one opportunity to talk to him. He didn't really say anything in the hospital because, you can't really talk to somebody on a BiPAP machine. Yeah. But his respiratory team and his nurse, the day that they put him on the ventilator, they said to me that he said he regretted not getting the vaccine.
Oh. Wow. I know you took to Facebook and you talked about that there's no way for you to prepare anyone for this horrendous reality. And Brittany, you got your second shot just days after the death of your husband, and both of you now united in a way that no one should be. But I thank you for joining us today and sharing, in the midst of criticism, which is unfair, your stories and your husband's stories. Thank you.